Hello, I'm Hunter Schultz, and this is Winning Healthcare Food Fights Without the Mess. My guests today are Laura and Scott McAllister. They are patients of Southern Comfort Health in Fort Pierce, Florida. They're going to share a little bit about their experiences in the old system versus direct primary care, starting right now. Laura and Scott McAllister, welcome to the show. It's a pleasure to have you on.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
You're a patient at Southern Comfort Health in Fort Pierce, Florida. In the South, Southern Comfort Health might have a different meaning. just pointing that out. I have not asked Dr. McCain if there's a play on words there, but she has a good sense of humor.
Yes, she does.
If you could describe for us, what was your care like before you discovered Southern Comfort Health?
Well, I'll let you start out.
I think the best way to describe it would be sporadic. I had a year and a half ago had moved back here. We had just gotten married. I got a new insurance plan. It took me 5 months to get one appointment with a doctor, so this was late in the year. I saw her twice. I went to my appointment in January. They informed me they no longer took my insurance. The payment was going to be $175. Give us the card. So it was putting me back to square one. I waited 5 more months to get in with a new primary care physician that was now on my insurance. And it was just frustrating. And there was no continual care from somebody that could look at the big picture.
Yeah, for me, it was I didn't have as much interaction. I didn't go to the doctor as much, but that was partly because I never felt comfortable. The doctors always, I felt like it was an assembly line. They were just like, get in here, get out. And they never asked any questions that I felt really mattered to me. So I kind of avoided, going to the doctor a lot. And I don't think I was, doing what I should be there. And since we've met like with the DPC, that's changed quite a bit. And I'm sure we'll discuss that.
Absolutely. What consumed your time the most in the old system before you found DPC?
Sitting in the waiting room.
Yes.
Sitting in the waiting room.
Or trying to actually find someone you could make an appointment with. Whether they weren't accepting new patients, or they didn't take your insurance, or they didn't take the specific plan that was your insurance. It was phone call after phone call after phone call, and just extremely frustrating process.
Now, when you finally got into the office, what was the office visit like?
Well, like I was saying, from my experience, and I didn't have as much experience with the doctors that she did, but for me, it was always very much assembly line. I sat there, waited until the convenience of the doctor. Then I went inside, talked mostly to the nurse. The doctor would come in 5 minutes, boom, boom, here you go, this is what you're doing. Do you have any questions? Yes. And then they basically just rushed you through it very quickly. And I never felt like I was actually connecting with the doctor on a level that, was going to be able to be helpful to me.
Was any of that time, were they spending it on their computer?
Oh,
yes.
Usually.
They're usually just buried in front of their laptop.
Clicking their mouse?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, they don't click the mouse, they don't get paid.
Exactly.
Right. So you didn't feel like you had their complete attention. You spent most of your time talking to the nurses or sitting on a chair waiting to see someone.
You might get 5 to 10 minutes with the doctor, but again, they're usually buried in the computer and click, click, click. What prescriptions do you need? Where am I sending them? And you're like, hey, wait a minute. I kind of need to talk to you. I've got some issues going on.
You got frustrated. There was a point at some point you discovered Southern Comfort. How did that happen?
I was actually familiar with the DPC model because one of my parents' physicians in Tennessee went to that 3 or 4 years ago. And actually, a friend of ours went to work for Dr. McCain at Southern Comfort, and she reached out, knowing we are realtors. We're in a profession where we don't have company provided insurance. So it's something that we've always got to get on our own. So as soon as Veronica reached out to me, I made an appointment the next week.
It wasn't that difficult for you.
Yeah. I was ready to go. I was really excited.
What took the longest for you to understand about the direct primary care model? Was there anything in particular that you said, or you needed more time to comprehend?
Well, for me, like I said, because I never felt like I connected with any of the physicians I'd ever dealt with before, I I never really opened up. Like, okay, this is what's really going on with my life, but that no one ever asked those questions either. And when I had my wellness sit down with Dr. McCain, she just really asked detailed questions that I'd never been asked before by a doctor about all aspects of my life that affect my healthcare. And it took me a while to let go, to be like, okay, this person actually cares about my health. But it was really a wonderful feeling once I realized that and said, okay. And then I really opened up and actually taking care of things that I had never even, thought of taking care of before. Which is
Sure.
nice.
Sure. It sounds like for you, it's a lot more reassuring.
Yeah.
For just your overall well-being. More confidence.
I finally feel like I have that kind of point person who's looking out for all different aspects of my healthcare.
Is it fair to say that in your case, Scott, you didn't go to the doctors much because you're a man? You suck it up and you take it, right? That's
absolutely. You take it and you just you deal with it, and especially if there's any hassle, it's like, okay, I'll do this. Oh, but then there's a hassle, and I'm going to wait now and forget it. I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
And Laura, yours. I mean, women they have OBGYNs. They are going to see a physician.
Yeah.
They're getting some care, hopefully on a yearly basis. So you have more interaction with the actual process.
Absolutely. And I've also had a couple of chronic health conditions since childhood. So I have dealt with a variety of doctors in a variety of settings and have really lost almost all faith in the healthcare system. I was just getting shuffled around from one doctor to the other, and nobody was trying to put the pieces together. So I've definitely experienced a lot of frustration with the traditional healthcare model.
So you've had the chronic conditions, which fair to say that primary care and the right kind of primary care, that's handling those needs for the most part.
Yeah.
Huge difference for you.
Yeah.
A lot more convenient.
Yes. And what I love is she has the ability to consult with, I guess it's other direct primary care physicians or some network. So even if I'm just having an appointment with Dr. McCain, she can still, consult with, a pulmonologist or whatever without having to physically send me to each and every single location. We can do a little more homework up front and, try a couple things. It's more cost effective, it's more time effective. Yeah.
We've all been living through COVID-19 now for, almost a year.
Yeah.
How has your care changed because of COVID-19?
I would say it hasn't changed other than we did more virtual appointments than in person for a while. But I still, had the ability to sit down kind of face to face with her even through the entire, all of the lockdowns and concerns and such. That's not an
uncommon answer for direct primary care patients.
Exactly.
And the doctors are like, what else is new?
Right.
There's been a lot more that they've done in terms of, personal protection, and they have limited office visits.
Right.
But for you, it really wasn't that big of a deal.
No.
That's an important
even before social distancing, when you went to the office, it was never that traditional office where like there's 18 people waiting there, and it's just like I said, they're making time for everyone. When she schedules, there's time for you, and that's why it's one of those amazing things. It's a big difference.
Time and access, and the ability to focus on you.
Yeah.
Is a common theme. What finally convinced you about direct primary care? Was there something that clicked, or was it more just, yeah?
I think it's just the practice is much more patient centric, rather than, again, they have these sort of mandates and, with the insurance and the structure of these facilities, you've got to get people in and out. And the direct primary care model really focuses on the patient as a whole. Even through COVID and stuff, if I called them and said, "Hey, I'm having a lot of pain today, I really need to get in," they would. It's not a 3-week wait to get an appointment. It's they're gonna get me in. They're gonna stay late. They're gonna do what they need to do because I feel like they're actually concerned and invested about me as a patient and a person.
Well, I was going to say, for me, the big thing was the attitude and the energy. Like you had mentioned earlier about how doctors don't like what they're being forced into. You just felt a difference with Dr. McCain and with Ginger. You walk in there, they're happy to see you, they're smiling. How is your life going? And they're truly concerned about that, not just how much money do we get from the insurance and how many people can we get in here. And that to me was the biggest watershed difference between traditional care and the direct primary care model for me.
So let's say you have a minute of the nation's undivided attention. What would you say to them about your care and direct primary care?
I don't know that I can say enough good things about it. Like I said, I've had very poor experiences in the past, and just with the model, you're able to sit down and actually have time to discuss issues with your doctor, and that's something that doesn't happen with regular office visits and such. It's been game changing for me.
Absolutely.
Scott, you too?
Yeah, for me, it's been great just because I'm actually getting the care that I probably should have been doing because things that I just didn't think of. But beyond that, I just see the change in my wife. She used to come home sometimes almost in tears because these doctors just would not listen to her and give her the time to try to help her out. And that has changed so much since Dr. McCain and her direct primary care practice came into our lives.
So you both are self-employed, right? How does that impact your job performance?
Well, in real estate, what's really important, and unfortunately a lot of other realtors don't do, is respect people's time. And people just show up an hour late, or time doesn't matter. And when you're fortunately very busy, every hour matters. If I'm missing an hour here, I'm not making money. I'm not getting any listing. I'm not getting a sale. And the direct primary care model actually respects your time, and it doesn't do that. I'm a doctor, and you'll do things at my schedule, and that alone is worth it right there.
You wake up one morning, you don't feel well, and instead of going, "Oh, great, now I got to go to the doctor's office," you do a chat or a text or a phone call?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Yeah, that makes a big deal. I mean, that's a big difference.
So you're getting this kind of old country doctor feel, but with high tech. There's still computers involved. There's still with text messages. The moment we set up an appointment, boom, 3 seconds later, my phone buzzes and there's a text message saying, "Here's your next appointment." So it's a nice combination.
What surprised you the most about the care you're getting now?
I think, honestly,
I'm still surprised by the ease of access to the doctor. Sometimes I have random thoughts in the middle of the night, and I just send her an email, and she'll respond with her thoughts. And I've never had that type of relationship with a doctor before.
Yeah. And then the fact that I have a 3:00 appointment, I get there and it's 3:00 and the appointment starts. That's the stress that takes off your shoulders. I don't think people think about that, but it's pretty big.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of the places now, you go, they order blood work, so you have your in-office appointment. You've waited an hour and a half to see the doctor. Well, they don't draw blood in the office anymore, so now you have to take more time out of your day, make a second appointment, go to a secondary location. if you need an EKG or something else, that's a third appointment somewhere else. Whereas, the way they have it set up, they're like, hey, we can take care of it. And we get it all done at once. And, it's effective. It, saves us a lot of time. We can't, we can't budget 5 hours out of our day for, hey, we don't know when we're actually going to get in the door to see this doctor. So.
And money. I mean, really, it does save money because I know I want to have something done, something taken off from my skin. Every other doctor said, set up an appointment with a dermatologist, and it's like $250 to go in. Then that's just to get the consult. Then they take it off. I told Dr. McCain what I wanted to do. Oh, okay. Hey, Ginger, get this ready. Go in the other room. Boom. It was taken care of.
There's majesty and simplicity.
It's beautiful.
She looked at her watch. She was like, hey, we have time. Do you want to do it now? We're like, yeah.
What a concept.
Exactly.
So when you're talking to your friends, family, and I won't say coworkers, but your friends and family, and even new people coming into town, what do you say to them about the care you're getting? Go see Dr. McCain?
Pretty much.
Very much. Or if you're not in that area, I've kind of become a little bit of an evangelist for the DPC around people, just because, like I said, and I know a lot of guys that just, if there's any kind of hassle at all in healthcare, they're not going to do it. And this removes that barrier.
Yes, that's very important. There's also a cultural stigma, well, not a stigma, but there's the Rambo kind of thing, the machoism, where you don't want to admit that it's, you're losing a step. And I noticed that. I just turned 61 last month, so I notice, I'm not as young as I used to be, but there's that feeling of you don't want to lose that invincibility that you had when you were 20. So, and a lot of it starts earlier with coaches in sports, tough it out, tough out the pain. And they instill that in me. And yes, I get that. But later on in life, that isn't such a good thing.
Yeah.
Laura and Scott, thank you so much for joining me. It's been a real pleasure to hear your story.
Excellent. Well, it was a pleasure speaking to you.
For Winning Healthcare Food Fights, I'm Hunter Schultz. Stay healthy, wash your hands a lot, and there you are.